Yes, I am starting this video already very sweaty and, fanning myself, but it's fine because it just looks like my skin is very moisturized and dewy. Well, hello there, welcome back. Today I'm here to do the Nope Trope book tag. That's very hard to say. This tag was created by Zoe from Zoe's All Booked, and I'll link the original video down below so you can go check it out. It's so much fun and I adore Zoe's content. She is absolutely hilarious and her baby Carter is just the cutest. So go show her some love. In this tag we basically have a few tropes that Zoe hates and a few prompts to go with each trope, so yeah, let's get into it. I'll be reading the questions because my brain fog is insane today, so please bear with me. The first trope is eavesdropping / miscommunication, and I mostly hate this trope, but I think it can be done well. I think this way about most tropes. I don't really like saying that I dislike a trope, because if it's done well, chances are I'm gonna like it anyway. So I think it's more that the execution is usually subpar. So, for example, I think a book that did this trope well was Girl Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, because it really made sense, for it to happen to the characters due to all the trauma that they had from previous abusive relationships, So I think in that case, this trope really made sense, But yeah, typically I really dislike it. And the prompt for this is name a book you've heard great things about and expected to love but ended up hating. I have two answers for this and I think the two are gonna piss a lot of people off, so please don't kill me. First I'm gonna go with one that I didn't hate but I was sorely disappointed by. There was one specific aspect of the story that really pissed me off, and I don't see anyone addressing it, but I do think it's a good book and I do understand why people really love it, and I'm really glad that this book exists, because so many people feel seen by it, but I really like it, okay? It's just, it's Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Please don't kill me, it's fine, it's absolutely fine. I'm gonna spoil this for a second because I really need to talk about this. If you don't want to be spoiled for this book, then just skip a bit, until the spoiler disappears from the screen. I hate the fact that Aled blames Francis for people finding out about him being the creator of University. Hate it. I do understand him thinking that, and feeling that way at first, but I do not understand how that mentality was never challenged in the book. To the very end, Aled never acknowledges that it was unfair of him to blame Frances for it, and he never apologizes for it. And Frances certainly never, understood that it wasn't really her fault. And also, she was being harassed as well, and people don't talk about that. No one in the book talks about that. And I understand that Aled is going through a lot, and I, again, understand why he would think that, and he would jump to that conclusion at first, but I can't accept and overlook the fact that he never said to Frances that he was unfair for doing that, and he never apologized for it. It was not her fault and she was being harassed too. So yeah, there's that. And the other book that I have for this prompt is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. Where do I begin? I first read this back in high school and I read it in Brazilian Portuguese and I really disliked it. A few years later I thought to myself, maybe it's just a problem with the translation, maybe the original language is better. And so I bought it, and of course I got the fucking hardcover because why the fuck not? I'm usually very good at predicting which books I'm gonna like and which books I'm gonna dislike, so I really expected to like this book. And I didn't. I really didn't. I would go as far as to say that I actually hated it. Well, not hated it. Hate is a very strong word, but I really disliked it. I don't think I liked a single character in this book. So that's that. And I am a very character-driven person, so that was a no for me. I think the only characters I gave a shit about were Isabel and Magnus Bane. The rest of them can choke. I really didn't like the writing in this. I thought it was so fucking boring, and I disliked pretty much every single character, as I said before, so There was very little that I found redeeming in this book. I did really like the world it took place in, you know, and I really like how it mixed up so many different magical creatures and all that, and I really liked the whole shadow hunter thing, how they're seen as heroes but they're not necessarily all that good. That was nice and all, but I don't think it kind of made up for the rest of the book being lackluster or bad. So, City of Bones. The next trope is love triangles, and I have a very complicated relationship with love triangles. I think the biggest problem with love triangles is that they were very overused, you know, so I think we are all just very oversaturated. But I don't think they are inherently bad, you know. There are two types of love triangles that I hate. One of them is when it's not really a triangle, so it's not the three people feeling things for each other, you know, and it's not even two people feeling things for a third and this third feeling things for both of them. And instead, it's just like these two people feel things for each other and this loser here keeps trying to pressure this person to feel something for them. And like, that's not how it works. You can't force her to love you, Jimmy. The second type of love triangle that I hate is when the third person has feelings for both the other people and for some reason they are forced to choose. Like they have to choose one of the two people to be with, as if polyamory isn't a thing. It's like, just stop being cowards and give us polyamory. The prompt for this is name a series you can pick your favorite book, and for this I'm going to go with The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. Of course, no one is surprised. This is my favorite book series of all time, and it's not necessarily that I can't pick a favorite, it's just that every single time I reread it, I have a different favorite. So I think all three books are genuinely amazing, and I think they succeed at what they set out to do. The next prompt is not like other girls / didn't know I was beautiful. I hate this trope, but I think most people use this term wrong. I see a lot of people saying that a character fits the not like other girls trope just because either the character is angry or sassy, or, you know, a person who fights a lot, or just because the person doesn't fit the molds of traditional femininity. So I think that's a problem. Every single time that happens, I have to hold myself back because all I want is to grab the person by the shoulders and shake them and tell them to snap out of it. But yeah, when a character actually fits the not like other girls trope, I despise it. I really don't like it. It's, you know, internalized misogyny, and it just serves to pit girls against each other, and I think that's ridiculous, you know, and I was a victim of that, I guess you could say, in life, you know. I used to be a girl who thought that I was not like other girls, and I tried very hard to not fit in with the girls, you know, seeking some kind of validation from the guys around me, and that's awful, and it does no one any good. And the whole didn't know I was beautiful trope, I really dislike it most of the time, but at the same time, I do appreciate a character being insecure. I think it's a valid flaw, you know, to give to your character. But I absolutely despise it when the entire world is just head over heels about this character because of how beautiful they are, and they still keep this bullshit going, you know. Oh, I'm so plain, I'm so mousy, I'm so this, I'm so that. Oh, this is so fucking tiring. Like, it's okay to be insecure, but you don't need to pound me over the head with it every 5 seconds, you know, 1,000 times over the book. It's fine. I get it. It's fine. Is being insecure your entire personality? Like, really? So yeah, I really dislike this trope. The prompt for this is name a book that has a pretty cover but was boring as all hell. For this one I'm kind of cheating because I think the cover for the Brazilian edition is very pretty, but the original cover I think is quite ugly. But yeah, it's Sweet Tooth by Ian McEwan. I talked about this book so much because it was such a disappointment for me, mostly because it was so dull, you know, it was so fucking boring. And this is the Brazilian edition, by the way. It's called Serena in Portuguese. This is advertised as being about this woman who has to enlist this writer into MI5, you know, for a special assignment and all that. What I expected from this was that these two people, the chick and the guy she enlists, kind of get involved romantically and sexually, even though they are not supposed to because they are working together. and, you know, thrills, because it's a spy thriller and action and just fun, you know. And oh my god, this was so fucking boring. Not only was it not about any of that, you know, it's not thrilling at all. It's not about spying, you know, because even though this chick works at MI5, she's not a spy. She just types shit, you know. So why would I want to read this? But even putting that aside, this was written in such a dull manner that I found it hard to give a shit about anything that happened, you know, which is not ideal. The only reason I didn't DNF this is because I bought it with my own money and I wasn't about to throw my money in the trash like that. So if I bought it, you can be damn sure that I'm gonna read it to the end. So yeah, this is shit. Don't recommend it. Don't pick it up. It would be the worst mistake in your life. The next trope is all-consuming love. This refers to those book relationships where the two people have met each other like a week ago and they are already professing their undying love and, you know, just saying, how could I live without you? Life without you is nothing, and all that jazz. And this is a trope that generally really pisses me off, especially when it's teenagers and they just... You don't even know what love is yet, okay? Just take a chill pill. And I do understand that, you know, teenagers are like that and, you know, you feel everything very strongly. So I do understand that, but that doesn't mean I like it. And listen, my relationship was very fast, okay? We spent like a month talking and then we were already saying I love you and starting to date. So I get it that you can feel a lot for a person, you know, in a short period of time, and you can be sure of your feelings in a short period of time. I really get it, you know, I have first-hand account of that, and we've been together for over 4.5 years. But you have to write it well, you know, if you write it in a way that makes it seem like these two characters don't have any reason to feel like this, then you failed, you know, what's the point? It just sounds silly. And the prompt for this is name a book that gave you a book hangover. For this I'll have to go with The Poetex by Elisabetta Acevedo. This fucking book, man, I listened to it last month, you know, September, and I listened to it on audio while I read along. Jesus fucking Christ, can you chill? Thank you. I listened to the audiobook while I read along with the ebook last month, September, and oh my fucking god, I cried so fucking much while listening to this book, and I also felt so seen, you know, so many of Xiomara's struggles I kind of could relate to in a way. Mostly her struggles with religion and church and all that. I really related to that and I felt so seen by that. And man, Elisabetta Acevedo just has such a way with words, you know, she writes things that are just so fucking beautiful. And she writes in a way that makes you really understand the deeper themes that she's bringing up, you know, and all the imagery that she's bringing up. And listen, I hate poetry, you know. You are very sassy, Mr. Bird. I feel like he's trying to impersonate me. What the fuck is this noise? We are gonna have to deal with this, okay? Listen, I hate poetry, okay? Mostly because I don't understand it. But this book was just fantastic, okay? It's written in verse and the audiobook is narrated by Elisabetta Acevedo herself. And it's absolutely amazing, you know, her voice is so soothing and her cadence. You can tell that she really has a lot of practice with slam poetry, you know, when spoken poetry, and it's so beautiful. The reason this gave me a book hangover was because this was so fucking good that it was a bit overwhelming. Like, I read it and I listened to it in a sitting, so it was a lot for me to take in, and I had to take many days, you know, to kind of get back in a reading mood, I guess. And this is about Xiomara, who is the daughter of Dominican immigrants, and, you know, it's about her life as a Latinx girl and as a black girl and as a woman, and Oh, it does so many important topics, but I think the core of this book is about the power of words, you know, and how words can make you feel seen, and how words can find you a community and give you a community and all that. I got chills talking about this. Oh my god. This is so fucking good. Just please read it. Number 5 is Douchebag Boyfriend, and I'm not even gonna talk about this one because I hate it. I really hate it. Well, I guess it depends because it depends on what exactly you're talking about when you're saying douchebag boyfriend. Because, like, technically, enemies to lovers could fall under that, but I love it. So, you know, I don't know. The prompt for this is name a book that took you a while to get into, but you ended up loving. And for this, I'll have to go with my favorite book of this year so far, and it's We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. This takes place in an Arabian-inspired fantasy world called Arabia, and it's about Zafira, who is a huntress, and she hunts to kind of provide for her people and to feed her people. And it's also about Nazir, who is the son of the Sultan and is an assassin, and the two of them are sent on different quests for the same magical object. This object can bring magic back, because magic has been going for many years in this world. The thing is, Nazir is also tasked with killing Zafira. If you've been watching me for any amount of time, then chances are you know that I absolutely love ships that start with one of the characters having to kill the other. I'm sold. Like, you don't have to tell me anything else about any book other than this. I love it. I love enemies to lovers. I love angst. I love biting. And I love the fact that in this particular book, they are kind of pining for each other and they both find the other attractive while they still hate the other. So I really love that, because even though Nazir and Zafira kind of hated each other, they still were physically attracted to each other. So I love that. It's so good. The thing is, the pacing of this book is a bit choppy, so it took me a while to get into it. Like the first 100 to 150 pages of the book, I was kind of reading very slowly. I was liking it, by the way, so it wasn't that I was like disliking. Wow, that was a lot of likes. It wasn't that I was disliking what I was reading, you know, it wasn't that at all. It's just, I don't know, I just read it slower. But I absolutely loved this book and I highly recommend it. The last prompt is to tell you my favorite or least favorite trope, and oh my god, there are so many. As I said before, I don't really like saying that I hate a trope, because I think mostly it comes down to execution, you know. If someone writes it well, then chances are I'm gonna like it. But there are a few tropes that really piss me off most of the time. One of them is surprise pregnancy. I hate it so much, and I don't even have like a logical reason to hate it. I just really hate it. I hate having pregnancy serve as a plot device, especially when it's something that is used to kind of bring a couple together, because for fuck's sake, like, this is not the 1800s anymore, okay? You don't have to be together just because you're gonna have a child. It's always either that or, you know, something that is used to break a couple up, you know? So, like, there's this couple and there's this one girl that used to have sex with a guy in the couple, and she just gets pregnant and the baby is supposedly his. Like, I don't care, first of all. Second of all, why would you have to break up with your girlfriend just because you're gonna have a child with someone else? You know, you had sex with this girl before you started dating your girlfriend, so why does it even matter? I do understand that having a child and having a partner who has a child, you know, is not necessarily super easy because you have to care for a child, but still, you know, I don't know, it just pisses me off. Another trope that I really hate is the entitled nice guy who has been friends with a girl, you know, ever since they were kids, and he's been in love with her for the longest time, but, you know, he never told her. He just went about his life because he was afraid of ruining the friendship or some bullshit like that. But then when the girl starts being interested in someone else, then they are mad because they were there all along and they were always so nice. And how fucking dare you not reciprocate the feelings that he has for you? I hate this so fucking much. This one is one that I don't think there's a good way to be done, honestly. Like, oh my god, just thinking about it gets me very angry. It's like, my guy, she owes you nothing. Just because you're in love with her doesn't mean that she has to be in love with you, okay? That's not how it works. You can't force someone to love you, okay? Like, if you are as nice of a guy as you seem to think you are, then you would not have a problem with a girl not reciprocating the feelings you have for her. And not only that, you never told her how you felt before, so why do you feel entitled to being angry now? Like, please stop and seek help. I hate the entitlement, the audacity of this one. Examples of this are Simon from City of Bones and Mal from Shadow and Bone. Oh my god, I got so angry when I read them both. Oh boy. I don't know, man, it just really fucking pisses me off. And like, why are you so fucking territorial? She's not yours. She's not even a property to begin with. But she is especially not yours. As for tropes I love, I am a very tropey bitch, okay? I love so many tropes. I think my favorites are mutual pining and enemies to lovers, but more specifically, enemy spies in love. The potential for angst in this one. I also love the whole character who was raised to be a weapon starts realizing they are human. That is just god tier. That is... I love it. And when these last two tropes overlap, perfection. I don't need anything else in life. I also really love found family. I think it's an amazing trope. And oh, I really love it. Oh my god, there are so many tropes. I'm gonna leave it at that. There's barely any light outside now, and it's gonna be dark here soon, so I'm gonna finish this now. So yeah, tell me some of your favorite tropes and least favorite tropes in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, comment and subscribe if you feel like it, and as always, I'll see you around.